Default was the giant sword hanging over America's head. But because of the good work of President Biden, as well as Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate, we are not defaulting. Democrats said from the start, we must take default off the table. For a long time, many Republicans in the House resisted. House Republicans were ready to take default hostage in order to pass a radical, hard-right agenda that never could have passed with the American people. So tonight's outcome is very welcome news for our economy and for American families. I thank my colleagues for the good work tonight. I commend President Biden and his team for producing a sensible compromise under the most difficult of circumstances. So many of the destructive provisions in the Republican bill are gone. Because we persisted and we kept insisting that default is off the table, we will not be defaulting. And we will not be passing the hard right's extreme agenda, virtually no part of it. And that is thanks to the Senate and House Democrats and to President Biden. But don't just listen to me. The proof is in the pudding. House Democrats swept the vote, 34 to 117. A higher percentage and number of Democrats voted for this in the House than Republicans did. And it was just repeated in the Senate. Overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats voted for the bill. A majority of Republicans voted against it. And it's not just how Democrats carried the bill to the finish line, but why. Why'd we get more votes? We got more votes because the bill beat back the worst of the Republican agenda. This exercise was basically, this was an exercise in where the American people were at, and they're much closer to where we are than where they are. Of course, nobody got everything they wanted. There was give on both sides, but this agreement was a very good outcome because it accomplished three extremely important goals. First and foremost, we prevented a catastrophic default that would have decimated our economy, raised costs, and inflicted immense unnecessary pain on tens and tens of millions of American families. Second, the bill preserves the lion's share of the historic investments we've made to grow our economy, fix our infrastructure, make the U.S. more competitive on the world stage, which the Republican caucus in the House seemed intent on tearing down. They didn't get to do that. And third, and very importantly, we did a very good job of taking the worst parts of the Republican plan that would have hurt so many families.
Greetings, friends. So big changes are happening right now. Inflation is beginning to pick up once again. Top economists have revealed what may be the key driver of inflation. Also, several lawmakers in Congress are now facing criticism as exact details of the Biden-McCarthy deal are being released. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to find out how this deal could affect you. Also, tomorrow, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Central bank officials around the world have said taming inflation is their top priority, but rising prices have turned out to be stickier than originally expected. The U.S. economy saw a pickup in inflation that began in 2021 amid crisis-induced supply chain issues. But the current inflation situation seems to be more about services than demand constraints, according to CNBC News. A worker shortage contributed to pushing wages and prices higher. Some workers have seen big pay increases since the second half of 2020. This led to record job openings and high turnover rates as people job hopped for more money. This caused the unemployment rate to decline sharply. Experts say that typically In inflationary periods, wages do not keep up, and it's the price of goods that are going up more than the cost of labor. One expert has said, the main driver of inflation seems to be labor costs, and what that actually means is that workers are gaining. So dear friends, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think is fueling inflation? But there are signs that wage growth is cooling, especially as layoffs have skyrocketed nearly fivefold in 2023 across many industries. A common concern during periods of inflation is a so-called wage price spiral. This is when workers expect their wages to rise to compensate for inflation, which in turn can push prices even higher. While central banks around the world are still cautioning about this continuing, experts seem more optimistic that the wage-induced inflation loop will not be as big of a threat as first expected. The Federal Reserve's battle to taper inflation by ratcheting up interest rates is limiting who can afford to purchase a new or used vehicle. The rate hikes have many Americans lowering their buying expectations, instead opting for used vehicles over new ones, or fixing their current car or truck instead of purchasing a replacement. Analysts say that it's hitting lower-income consumers, with credit scores below 620 the hardest. Used vehicle prices have increasingly become a barometer for inflation since early last year, when the Biden administration blamed the market for rising inflation rates. Last month, the Consumer Price Index rose 0.4%, pushed higher by rising prices for housing, used vehicles, and gasoline. The rising interest rates come on top of already higher vehicle prices, driven up by tighter supply of new and used vehicles. Inventory has been squeezed since 2020 due to factory shutdowns from the crisis and ongoing supply chain issues. So whatever happens next to rates, whether the Federal Reserve continues to raise them or chooses to pause, vehicle prices are expected to remain elevated for years to come, as it takes time to boost inventories and for the new vehicles to become used. President Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy reached a tentative deal on raising the nation's $31.4 trillion debt limit. The White House said the two-year deal will lower spending by about $1 trillion over 10 years. House Republicans say it would cut spending by $2.1 trillion if suggested budget caps were extended for another 4 years. This deal is a significant victory for Republicans. Veterans also win, because the agreement provides a bigger share of the discretionary pot for their health care. Officials say that taxpayers also scored some wins. But there is not good news for student loan borrowers. The deal ends Biden's student loan payment pause this summer. Another element is stricter work requirements for relief programs, which could leave millions of low-income households hungry. About 9 million children live in food-insecure households. Food insecurity is an issue that has been made worse by the nation crisis and rising food prices. While policymakers enacted temporary benefit increases in response to increased economic hardship during the crisis, those provisions have since expired. The USDA reevaluated the Thrifty Food Plan in 2021, which led to a 20% permanent increase in SNAP benefits compared to pre-crisis levels. That was the largest increase in benefits in the program's history and was separate from the crisis-related enhancements to the program. Well, my awesome and amazing friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Thursday. My dearest friends, thank you very, very much for being here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners tomorrow for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, my friends, of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.